Great, thanks. Okay, so just a little quick update. We have been busy. I know we took off December. There was a lot we were doing during that period of time, um, including submitting for a couple of grant opportunities. One of the, I think I mentioned before that we did get the CEC, the California Energy Commission. We were going after some additional charging units for the zero emission cargo handling equipment. Our initial or what we initially received from the Zanzef grant was not enough charging units, and some of the chargers that we did get were slower chargers. So we have not been able to deploy our zero emission equipment as effectively and as efficiently as we can. And so what we're doing now is moving into trying to get additional fast chargers. They're a lot more expensive, but like in their name, they do charge a lot quicker than the level twos that we currently have many of. So we've applied for 16 different chargers. We got 10 chargers that were approved from the Energize program, from the CEC's Energize program. And then we were able to get 6 additional fast chargers through the core program. And so those are all on order. We have not received them yet. We have not been able to install them, but those are in the works. And so that's good for us to be able to kind of take advantage of opportunity charging, whether a crew goes on break for 15 minutes or for an hour at lunch. We can charge them and make sure we can get an 8-hour shift out of the equipment that we have. And another update on the locomotive side. So Central California Traction Company, which is our short line railroad, they're in process of working with the Air Resource or the Air District to upgrade one of their locomotives. They've got 4 that they can upgrade. They did have some issues previously with when they tried to go, I think, on a hybrid before. And so they're gonna try out one of these new, I think it's a tier 4 engine in the next coming year and see if it meets their needs. And if so, then that would help them to move forward with changing out all of their locomotives. But so that's a good opportunity. We're excited about CTC moving ahead with that. Brusco Tug, another one of our heavy emission load sectors, is the tugs, and they are in the process of upgrading their entire fleet. Some of them from tier 0 to tier 4. So I hope to have them come back in the next couple months to give us an update, kind of, and share the progress on what they're working on. And then SSA has been, so they were an initial partner with us on the Zanzef grant. They got 6 of the e-bulls, the real heavy duty forklifts through that program. And since then, they have also gone after another 6. And so they've doubled their zero emission cargo handling fleet at the port. Just in the last couple of weeks, we've been finalizing and submitting the CAUSTA Port and Freight Infrastructure Program submittal. So that's a grant opportunity, and it's similar. It mirrors what we submitted for TCEP, which is the Transportation Corridor Enhancement Program. So what we submitted was all of our rail improvements that really will help. That'll double track our bridge. It will double track our lead line coming off of the BNSF. So that will really help with efficiency. And when we have trains moving back and forth, we won't have somebody sitting and idling, waiting, and producing emissions that are just kind of wasted sitting there, waiting for another train to clear. So that was exciting. We're also working on the traffic study. We'll have an update, hopefully, to share at the next meeting. Also, we'll be sharing the 2020 emission inventory fairly soon. And I'm excited that we were able to make some inroads with Delta College and working with their zero emission, their technology sector, to have one of their professors come out, and he's interested in doing potentially a workforce development program in partnership with the port. So as soon as he gets back in the country, I'm excited to move ahead with that. The only other thing we have going on, actually, the two more things, the blueprint. We're working hard on the blueprint. We do have some surveys that are out there right now. Julia is going to put them in the chat. If there is a $20, I believe a $20 Amazon or Visa gift card, if you submit and fill out the blueprint. So we really need people, whether you're the tenant or part of the community, to give us some feedback on this electrification blueprint process. And it's a little bit long, but I think 15-20 minutes, hopefully you can get through it and you get a $20 gift card. And then also with the blueprint, we've got the draft final report is due on February 17th. The final is the end of February, February 28th. And then we will be submitting to the California Energy Commission on March 17th. And the only other thing I have is, and I'm really excited, I know we've been talking about it for a while, but the Tenant Jobs Board is finally launched and live, and we've got activity on it. So that's wonderful. So what we're doing is incentivizing our tenants to hire within the AB 617 community and we're providing a $1,000 rent credit for somebody who hires within that community. And we've already kind of had some onions, etc. One of our tenants has already interacted with us and is excited to place their job opportunities. And so I would ask any tenants, if you have job opportunities, please go to our website and look at our jobs board. You got to register and submit all your job opportunities there. And then on the community side, we want to ask that we get the word out, and we're going to be doing some marketing, but we really want to push the word out for people who are looking for a job in the community to come and register on the job board and be available. There'll be a nice pool of folks we're looking for that our tenants can review and can hopefully employ. And then Julia, I don't know if you wanted to share your screen and kind of show a little bit, show people where they can access the jobs board and kind of how it works. There you go, right there.
Yes, absolutely. So I put the link to the jobs board in the chat. It's just portofstockton.com/tenantjobs/. So it will take you to this landing page. And this is the same page for job seekers as well as for tenants who post positions. I am hearing an echo. I'm not sure if someone needs to be muted. Thank you. So if you are a job seeker, you would go right here to view jobs. You do not need to sign up to be able to view jobs, but we highly encourage it because there's a really amazing feature that allows you to receive emails when new positions are posted. So if you were a job seeker, you would easily create a login by signing up. And I'm just going to show you the platform real quick. So this is where you would see the jobs that you have applied for, and this is where you would be able to select that you would like to receive emails about new positions. So, and then, yes, these are the ones that you can apply for. These ones were just tests, unfortunately. And so this process is very similar for tenants. And for tenants, we ask that you forward this information to your HR or hiring department because each company can only have one login. So you go back to that same page, but you would select post a job. You would go through the same process of signing up. And then this is what the platform looks like. So tenants are able to view applications of people that have applied. They're also able to post positions. All you have to do is the same thing. You enter your information and you come right here to post new jobs. And so once community members and tenants start to go through this process, we ask that you please give us feedback, and we're more than happy to implement any changes that may enhance this platform. Okay, I'll turn it back on over to you.
Great. So anyway, it doesn't look like a lot right now, but it's taken a lot of effort to that we've put into this, and we're really excited, and hopefully it's going to lead to a lot of different opportunities for folks in the community. So Margot, you have your hand up.
I do. And it was going a little fast for me. Can I just ask you, what is the, I didn't see how much information people are putting in there. Is there a need for security on that site for people's info? Or was it pretty generalized?
So it's
Is-
pretty generalized. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
It's pretty generalized, and also everyone's information is private. No one, unless they actually apply for a position, nobody else will have access to that information on the platform, not even the port.
So it goes directly to the entity that has posted the position.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mariah.
Hi, Jeff. Long time no talk. I heard that, was it the 2020 emissions inventory is coming soon?
Yes.
And then do you have like a month for that? I know that it's a lot of data that you all are going through, but is there like an estimated time that that'll be available?
Yes. Hang on just one second. It just came
Sure.
in. Sounds like planning on putting together a statement. It should be in the next month.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right. Wonderful. If no one else has any other questions, we will move ahead. And I believe the next update was going to be, we asked the San Joaquin Valley Air District, we are reaching out to them on a number of opportunities, but wanted Aaron Tarango to come and provide just awareness for us all, kind of what funding opportunities are out there. So Aaron, if you wouldn't mind, thank you.
I think Mary had a question. I think.
Oh, Mary, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all right. I put it in the chat. So at some point, any update on Lehigh, and then what are the plans for Sharp Army Depot? So those
Yeah.
are just two general questions, but you can please attend to that later. Thank you.
Yes, Jason Cashman's going to give an update on projects. Lehigh, we don't have any update on Lehigh. It is still, they have not come back to us with any updates. They were sold to Martin Marietta. And so I think they're still trying to work out what their plans are going to be moving forward. So we don't have an update there. And then Sharp, I don't think Jason planned to cover Sharp, so I'll just go ahead and we're still working through with the federal government to work out the transfer. So and that is back in a black hole in DC right now. So we don't really have any updates. We're assessing the environmental conditions and the infrastructure on the port side right now, but that's all I can. That's the only update I really have.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Aaron. Turn it
Okay.
over to you.
Yeah, I will do my best to answer most of your questions here and kind of give a highlight of some of the programs we have there, and then maybe Brian can help me fill in some of the gaps I might miss here, and just talk about general, what we have available for the port, and and what we're doing essentially. I think most people on this call are aware of AB 617, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but obviously the Port of Stockton's a point source for us as well. We want to try to electrify as many pieces of equipment out there as we can. So I just want to talk about some of the programs we have for the Port of Stockton and their tenants that exist out there that we have. As a high level, one of the main ones is obviously electric trucks. We have money for electric trucks right now. If somebody's willing to come in and work with us on that. Electric cargo handling equipment. We do have funds for that, but it's like basically kind of like a business by business proposal, how they basically came into compliance with that regulation. So we'd have to see everybody's plan, how they came to compliance with that, and see what we do, how to help comply with that regulation, see where the windows are at to fund some of that equipment. Charging for two, I'll say this in two ways. One, just for simple charging for electric cars, and two, heavy duty electric charging, which is all electric or hydrogen. We have money right now available to fund charging. It starts about 50% of the cost and can go up to as high as, 75% of the cost to fund electric charging equipment. And obviously heavy duty chargers are the one thing we really, really want to do, but also we'll do anything that's out there. And I'll happy to answer any questions you may have about that as well. The locomotives, I know Jeff talked about that a little bit. We are working with Central California Traction on that. Unfortunately, it might be a little longer than we think. I think the engine they want to get still needs to be verified by CARB, so we're kind of working through some issues with that. So it might be a little longer than we think it than just this next year to get that project kind of going. The other one is I think Jeff, I think you mentioned tugboats. Tugboats would be a whole new thing for us, but it sounds like they're actually upgrading their tugboats now, so maybe it's not even a category for us, it looks like. Those are probably the main ones in and around the port that we could do. Jeff, is there anything that sticks out in your head that I didn't cover there for some of that? Because maybe I don't know exactly what is all at the port. I don't want to miss something that we possibly have money for. I want to make sure we're on the same page here.
No, the only other thing we're really looking at, and I see Joe Carrillo here from SSA, and we kind of talk a lot that, we're helping them, providing the infrastructure for them to charge their equipment as well. But and right behind me, kind of my the background here is kind of where we see us going for, our charging stations, covered storage for the equipment covered by solar panels. And then the only other thing we're missing really is battery backup and battery storage. So that would be something we'd be interested in and seeing if there's funding available for the Air District to support us on battery storage.
Let me have to look into that one. Let me write a note down battery storage. Battery storage for charging. We haven't funded that before, but it's something that we also want to explore, so it might be an option. That's a new one, so we have to look at that and see if that's doable or not.
Yeah, I mean, especially everything after what we experienced with the last round of storms, and in some areas we were without power for a day, 2 days, 3 days in some places. So
yeah.
And the other thing too is when right now the charging, having the solar is great during the day, but we can't store that power from the sun to be able to utilize either in the evening or go ahead and charge the batteries up or on off-peak hours from PG&E on this side of the port anyway.
Okay. I know there's some tenants on here as well, I believe. Jeff, is that correct? That
Yeah.
Maybe there's any possible way to maybe do some electric trucks with some of the tenants out there. That it's kind of what maybe our big thing. We want to really try to see if we can get some more electric trucks out there.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the tenants on here have any
Have trucks.
trucks, but I do know that, and feel free to speak up if I misspoke for you. But we have been talking to some of the larger trucking companies that do come into the port regularly, and they are interested in at least testing them. And so I want to say that I think Allegre Trucking is looking to demonstrate it's either a Nikola, I think it's a Nikola truck. Because the range just isn't there for them. That's kind of where they can do it. They seem to be fine for the short hauls but they were saying that by 10 a.m. they'd be out of battery. So they're looking for different little short hauls that could potentially they could utilize electric. And it would make sense potentially on port, like port drayage. I think that SSA has a couple of like bomb carts that we could electrify, and we'll be looking at that in the near future. But and any tenants speak up if you guys do own trucks and I'm not aware. But
Do you have, keep saying you have electric trucks and you want to do electric trucks. How many electric trucks do you have in your possession currently?
is that for the air district?
Yes, the air district. He says, yeah, we have trucks. We want to do trucks.
Well, no, we don't have them in our possession. We want to help pay for the trucks. Is the goal. You know, we could, you know, give up to $400,000 for an electric truck. Depends on what category it falls in, depends on what it is, how many miles it's going, but you know, that's a potential there.
Yeah, I want to say the range that we were looking at was at least that I think it was Exos was showing was like 200 and was it 230 miles or something like that, Joe? Joe, your hand's up. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're about 230 miles. Hi, everybody. Joe Cruz, let's say. Yeah, they're about 230-mile range. They can probably get, depending on obviously the variables they have with weights and hills and where they're heading. But there are some short hauls coming to and from the port. We have some customers coming in and out with trucks. So it might be a good time to talk about that, Aaron, with me and some other partners that come into the port that have trucking needs that maybe can do shorter hauls that are inside 100 miles a day to start that off, and it really worked really well.
Yeah, we would love to do that with you guys. I know Brian Dodge's team handles all the truck projects, and so I'd focus all through Brian, and we can, maybe Brian, you can put his contact in, so the chat there, we can have him contact him directly, get you to our supervisor oversees that. Yeah.
I'll throw my contact info in there. We would definitely love to be able to meet with representatives of the port or the fleets that are, you know, operating in and out of there. I think SB mentioned, you know, we were at an event today that's deploying electric vehicles. It's getting, you know, talked to some of their drivers today. They're getting 400 miles on a daily trip. So really, we need to make sure it works for the fleets, and what we can definitely do is sit down with operators, with fleet managers, whoever it might be, to understand kind of what their needs are, but also to talk about what's available and what's out there. And then as needed, you know, we can help facilitate conversations to get, you know, trucks to demonstrate. You know, I think CalStart's done a lot of work along the way with kind of putting some of those types of events together, or connecting them with the right people to maybe check out some of those demonstration type vehicles. So we'd love to be a part of the conversation and help facilitate that, and help people understand that we have funding available, not only for the trucks, replacing trucks, but also for associated infrastructure that might go along with that as well.
You know, that's great. No, and we've been,
How many fast chargers are available in the county?
Well, it's not necessarily like a per county allocation at this point. I mean, we have funding that we have solicitations for, or open application periods. If we have some people that are interested, David, we could definitely sit down and kind of go over the specifics of, you know, what a project might look like. But we've got quite a bit of money right now for infrastructure and vehicle replacements.
We have trucks that run in and out of the port all day.
Yeah, I'll throw in my contact info. We'd be happy to help have a conversation.
Okay.
great. Yeah, and if you guys want to reach out, I mean, between Joe and I, we can put together a meeting for and invite, you know, as many trucking companies as will, you know, as want to attend. I think you guys have a meeting on Friday we've put together with another one of our tenants who has some trucks. So yeah, we're reaching out and pushing. It just seems like it sounds, well, at least from the industry, at least for the hauling that happens at the port, it didn't seem like the technology was quite there, but we will definitely work with you guys to see what's available and see what funding opportunities there are. Thanks, Brian, for putting your info in there. Willie?
I just have a question. David Atwater, are you a tenant at the port?
No, I am not.
Oh, okay. I was
I'm
just kinda curious.
I'm on the Port Commission, and I'm a local businessman based in Stockton.
Gotcha. I'm just kind of curious, just based on kind of people involved in the port, if they know about the funding available. I mean, just listening to like David's reaction and like hearing the opportunity that there is funding out there, it kind of just seems like a potential opportunity for more education. Is this something that you, Jeff, like communicate out to the port about the available funding? And I'm kind of curious if all the tenants know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we push it, we push it as much as we can, especially in our quarterly newsletter. Any meetings we have, yeah, we're constantly getting the word out, and especially it's a lot of the outreach that we've done based on the blueprint and the emission inventory. Yes, we're getting the word out.
Is it just that people aren't really, it's not really applicable to them? They're not interested? Like what seems to be the main concern there?
No, I think just as I mentioned a few minutes ago on the trucking side, it's really I mean, what we sat through presentations on, and just the range is quite not there. The infrastructure for the charging is not quite there. So I think it's kind of it's a little bit of waiting for technology to figure it out. And Commissioner Atwater, I defer to you. This is your business, but you know, between technology and the backup infrastructure, I think there's a reluctance to jump in, because a lot of people, you know, have been burned by different situations in the past. I think I want to say that the trucking company Allegre that we talked to, they had a similar situation where they got I can't remember if it was CNG or something, but they didn't work for them. So anyway.
Jeff, if I could add on to that real quick as well,
Yeah.
and I failed to mention, a lot of the focus sometimes is on zero emission electric trucks. And they are just becoming a little bit more commercially available. There are certainly issues with range. There are also issues with availability and like when you could actually get one of these trucks if you were to order one today. So totally, those are understandable issues and cause for probably concern on fleet operators. We also want to make sure that these trucks work for folks. So zero emission battery electric might not work for everybody. We've got opportunities for low NOx natural gas trucks as well, you know, which certainly you know, provides the benefit of lower emissions compared to their diesel counterparts, but hopefully offering some extended range. So there are some things that we can talk about with natural gas as well. I think to your point, or to the question of maybe people not being so aware of this stuff, a lot of this stuff is, well, we've had truck replacement programs for a long time, you know, 20 years or so at this point. Some of the requirements now are slightly different. There's opportunities to replace, you know, maybe slightly newer trucks, and a lot of the truck replacement funding now is focused on these lower emission truck technologies, either optional low NOx natural gas powered trucks or zero emission trucks. And there may be just, you know, people who aren't like fully aware of kind of what's out there on the horizon at this point, because the landscape has changed quite a bit over the last year or two. So part of what we need to do as an air district and as grant staff, and what we're looking to do, what we want to do is connect with fleet operators. You know, we've worked with Allegre Trucking for a number of years. I'd love to kind of reconnect with those guys and see kind of what may or may not work for them, but kind of fleets across the district, we need to kind of engage with and look to have conversations to see, you know, of the available options that we might have, what may work for their operations.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, it'd be great to put one of these in service and let, you know, a trucking company test it and put it through the rigors of you know, what these guys do. Then I think Allegre was working on getting an arrangement like that. So that'll be some really good information. If you can get a trucking company saying, hey, yeah, no, we put these into play, and you know, we haven't missed a beat, that's a great testimonial. Margot, your hand's up.
Yeah, this is just food for thought because, you know, me, I can't remember details too well. But if I recall correctly, at the heavy duty subcommittee for AB 617, I think it might have been Ed Ward who offered this. I could be wrong. There was a trucking company, I believe initially based near the Long Beach port, that was buying fleets or is planning to buy fleets of electric trucks and then station them so that the driver would drive the truck, and when they needed to recharge, they would just switch out the cab. Some of these trucking companies might consider that if they have enough trucks in their fleet to do something like that, but it was just interesting. So
Yeah, there's been a few of those business models floating around, and actually one of the groups came and visited with us about, you know, finding a near port location for charging. And so we haven't heard from them again, but I know that, yeah, there are groups out there that are trying to buy up, you know, or purchase a lot of these trucks and then make them out there available for, you know, whether it's the mom and pops or whatever, like lease them to these companies and switch them in and out. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, folks at the Air District. That's a good segue into talking about additional port projects. Jason, you want to touch on these real quick?
Sure. So the port is still working on a McDonald Island dredge material placement site project, and this will allow the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to place the dredge material taken out of the Stockton Deepwater Ship Channel during their annual maintenance dredging. And so we've completed the draft EA ISMND for this project, and it went out for public review, and that public review ended on December 5th. And currently now we're just working on the final initial study, mitigated negative declaration for this project. And then the rail bridge replacement and rail improvements project, the port conducted a separate NEPA and CEQA review for this project. And we've completed the Section 7 consultation, and we're currently working on the Section 106 consultation. And probably in the next couple of weeks, we anticipate submitting the permit applications to the agencies. And then the port's really excited to having completed some projects here, and one was a rapid response dock, and that allows the port security or port police to rapidly deploy their police vessel. And then we just completed the Dock 7-8 fender replacement and structural repair project. We had some minor repairs for that project. And then the port also just completed our dock dredging. I think that was just done in mid-December. And we dredged docks 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that's about all we have.
And just for everybody's awareness, the scope of the rail bridge replacement and rail improvements project is similar. Oh, it's the exact same project that I mentioned earlier for that we submitted for CALSTA and for the TSEP programs. I think everybody's familiar with those. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so we're running a little bit behind. So we want to get to the meat of today, which is talking about the Clean Air Plan, and going through some of the comments and taking any comments maybe that people want to make verbally. But we appreciate everybody's effort in submitting comments, the ones that have, and we are still open to receive comments, I think, until through the end of the month. Julia, is that correct?
Yes, January 30th is the date.
Great. Okay, perfect. So Renee Moylanen is going to walk us through kind of comments and where we are with the Clean Air Plan. So thanks, Renee.
Yeah, thank you. And I apologize that my video is not working. My camera died, but the new laptop is on its way. So first, we have received some really, really good comments on the plan. So really appreciate everybody giving it a very thoughtful read and providing some very good comments, which we're sort of working through and incorporating. There were 3 comments or questions that sort of came up among a couple of different reviewers. And so I wanted to just highlight those and then really spend the remaining time opening it up to any other questions or comments that people had. So first, one of the comments was about how we characterized the emissions from the Port of Stockton by source category. And many of you noted rightly that the emission inventory boundaries for the Port of Stockton are defined in such a way that they're fairly narrow to the trucks, for example, that we know are touching the port itself, but recognizing that trucks just in goods movement in general are a much bigger regional issue. And so I think one of the things you'll see in the next version of this is a recognition that trucks themselves, whether or not they're captured in the Port of Stockton inventory, have a bigger impact on the community regionally. And then we're also going to better characterize the impact of the port's emissions in more of the local community as opposed to the air district as a whole. So that's one thing you'll probably see in the next iteration. The other comment that came up a bit was about zero emissions technology, and lots of really good questions about, well, how are you going to get the infrastructure? Has anyone done that kind of assessment? Where's the technology? What kinds of funding programs are available for zero emission equipment? And those are all really excellent questions. And those are the types of issues that are going to be handled in the port's electric vehicle blueprint, which Jeff had mentioned earlier. And this is sort of just a little bit of unfortunate timing that we're doing these 2 efforts in parallel. But within a couple months, that blueprint is going to come out and you'll be able to see a lot of the questions that you have around zero emissions equipment being answered in that document. And so I think what we're going to do in the emission reduction plan, the clean air plan, is to do a better job of explaining exactly what's going to be in that blueprint and referring people back to that document. And the very last comment, and when I say the last comment, this is just like big stuff that kept coming up. All of the smaller comments we're working on incorporating into the next version. But the other comment that was brought up was around renewable diesel as a near-term strategy, which is a very good point. And so we're going to go back through and add renewable diesel as a strategy, a near-term strategy. Obviously, the ultimate goal is zero emissions, but a good near-term strategy for terminal equipment. And then the new Harborcraft regulation also requires renewable diesel for the marine engines. So we'll make reference to that as well. So with that, I will pause and see if anybody had any additional comments or questions about the draft to make sure that we can incorporate those into the next version.
I'm not seeing any hands or anything in the chat.
Okay. So one thing I could suggest, because I know we've still got some time to submit comments, we are happy to sit down with folks. We are very happy to receive just like a bulleted list in an email. It doesn't need to be like a formal comment letter. We're really just looking for some good feedback, which we've already received a lot of. So we can make sure that this is a good reflection of all the work that we've done over the last year. So I would encourage you to send some thoughts over to Jeff. And then the next step in this process is that we will take those comments, incorporate them into the draft, issue a red line version so everybody could see exactly where the changes were. And then the final version, which I am assuming Jeff will go to the commission for approval, or is it an information for commission?
That's the plan, is to take it to the commission for their approval.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a wonderful opportunity. If you have any ideas on further efforts the port could make to reduce emissions, we're asking you to please submit comments and suggestions by the 30th. Okay. Do you have anything else on the clean air plan, Renee?
No, that was it. Just again, a big thank you to everyone who's provided comments. They were really, really outstanding comments. And I think the next version of this is going to be so much stronger because of that feedback.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'd also say a second what Renee said about, just setting up a meeting with us to discuss it. Some folks have taken advantage of that, and it's been really helpful, and the opportunity to just sit and talk about different ideas and why we're thinking a specific way. We're happy to do that with anybody. Sit down and kind of go through this with you and walk step by step through it. So please take us up on that if you have the time and opportunity to do that. All right. Julia, do we have anything else on the agenda, or did that go a lot quicker than we anticipated?
No, it's actually perfect timing and nothing else on the agenda.
Okay. Was there anything else anybody wanted to bring up as far as potential future topics or other opportunities that, like I said, I think bring in the TUG folks in the upcoming meetings to get an update on kind of what they're doing.
Yes, yeah. Since you brought that up with the tugboat, are you going to have any of those cruises for the student? Are we going to be able to have you find anybody who will do that? And also, I know the high is going to be, probably going to be coming up somewhere around in March somehow.
Yeah, you're talking about the Hyacinth?
Yes.
Yes, we hope that the Boating and Waterways is doing their job and controlling the Hyacinth. So it's kind of we take it kind of year by year to see, how much we start to see. Thankfully, I mean, we started to see some heavier concentrations early in December, and then it got cold enough to kill it and send it to the bottom. But we're hoping that Boating and Waterways, anytime we get a complaint or we get reports of a lot of hyacinth, we send it to the California Department of Boating and Waterways, who controls and handles all of the mitigation for hyacinth, as well as underwater vegetation as well.
Well, great, wonderful. What about as far as looking for, I know that the Port of Stockton is it's a wonderful, unique way of educating the Delta, the gaming life, everything that we go from there, the shipment, how they came about and all that. It's very informative. Are they gonna be having those this year for the opportunity for other people to get on board?
You're speaking of the tours, the boat tours?
Yes.
Yeah, we have not located another vendor that could supply, a vessel to us. Unfortunately, we're even trying to. I know there's a couple downtown in the harbor that look promising, but we can't get a hold of the owners, or they're not interested in leasing them out to us or renting them on a daily basis. So we're looking for other folks who can come in and do boat tours for us. But for right now, we're just sticking to land tours. And if anybody's interested in coming out and taking a tour, we'll entertain that and do the best education we can on land.
Okay, but yeah, but I understand that like the police officer, they get their helicopter, they get their new US SUV car, they get, and then they get every kind of stuff they get in vehicle. Why can't the port get their own equipment, their own tugboat or whatever they needed for themselves as for the community as far as at large? So if they're benefiting that, why can the Port of Stockton be also be benefiting owning that particular commodity? You know, it's worth it because people go there and they buy their chip, they buy thing, they buy the ticket or whatever. They come free sometimes, but I think that's something that will bring revenue for you, but also you know, educate the community as well. Benefit.
Well, we can take a look at the cost and then, you know, figure out, you know, how many days we would use that and kind of come back to this group and talk internally at the port and see if that's something. So far, it hasn't been something that we were really interested in, but you know, we can take a look at the costs and revisit that. We're happy to do that.
Yeah, because I like on the San Joaquin Board of Education, I always let parents say, look, they want to know what can we do for Stockton? What can we take our kids to? Well, where are we going to take? I said, well, the port is a nice way of dealing with that. But unfortunately, my food is in my mouth sometime when I thought it was last year, and then no go. But for year before, no go. And then like the three and then before COVID, it was we had a tour, you know, but it was gone. Remember, so that's all I can say.
Yeah, no, they were great, and we hope, you know, we really hope that we could bring them back to after COVID, and we just haven't found somebody that could you know, has a boat that would make it work. So. But no, we appreciate that, and we'll look into that, Douglas. We understand for sure.
Great, thank you, and have a wonderful weekend. Okay, bye.
Thank you. You too, Mary. You have your hand up, and you have a note in the chat about fertilizer unloading.
Yes, thank you. So I saw a video, I think actually it was from LinkedIn, showing a fertilizer unloading, you know, big boat, and I apologize, my vocabulary is not so great to distinguish vessels. But it got me thinking, you know, about that dust plume. It just, the video ended just right when there was that dust plume. And I wondered, you know, like how much of that gets into the water?
Well, there are precautions that are taken. We tarp the entire vessel side where we're unloading in order to reduce the amount of dust or any falling material from getting into the water. I'm interested to see, can you share the video with us?
I think actually it was Kirk's LinkedIn site.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll take a look, but no, there are measures. The only thing you can't use with the fertilizer, unfortunately, is water to knock down the dust, because that's what we typically
Right.
do with other commodities. So you have to manage how, you know, your discharge rate and how you handle it. So we do work with our stevedores, SSA, who's here tonight, as well as the longshoremen to you know, optimize the rate at which they're discharging, as well as, you know, and that can help us control the dust. So it's kind of a game that we play between, you know, go as quick as you can until, you know, you have a dust issue, but also make sure that everything's tarped and we have best management practices in place throughout the entire operation to reduce dust.
Right, and I understand that, and I have requested on more than one comment letter that I submitted on behalf of the Delta Sierra Group that the fugitive dust monitoring that you do be made public. So
Okay.
you're required to, do that dust monitoring. And so I just think that that should be public information.
Okay, we will, yeah, that it definitely is public information, so we can take a look and see if we can find a place on our website that we could put that information.
Thank you.
You bet. So Julia and Jason, will you remind me of that effort?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's 5 o'clock. I don't see any other hands or any other comments, so just want to thank everybody very much for coming. We really value your input and your time for being with us. I appreciate that if you can submit comments on the clean air plan, I push that heavily, and also please help us to get residents and community members to sign up for the jobs board. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, everybody. Good night.
Thank you